So that is the first skill in our toolbox that we need to understand: emotional intelligence. So let me ask you, do you have emotional intelligence? Do you know your emotions? Do you know the things that trigger you? Do you know the things that make you angry? Are you able to identify the emotions of others at every moment? And do you respond appropriately to the changes in those emotions? This is not a destination, it is a journey. In case you've not started yet, then as part of your personal development, you need to start that. Learn to know about yourself. Monitor everything that is going on around you. Know the things that takes you out of your element, the things that gives you your element. Then observe people. Look at people. Observe their behavior. Chat with people. Talk with people. Become interested in people. Even by looking at their facial expression, you can know, oh, this person, this thing is happening. This person, this thing is happening. And that can help us to build a great organization. The next skill set that we need to be mindful of is conflict management. As I mentioned, there will always be conflict, especially in the boardroom. Strategy implementation, there will be conflict. People want to go right, management wants to go left. People want to go back, management want to go forward. People want to stay, management will say move. There are going to be conflicts. The question is, how do we manage the various conflicts? What skill sets do we need to be able to manage conflicts in the organization? One-liner definition: conflict here means the disagreement or difference of opinion between or among individuals that can be potentially what? Harmful. The difference in opinion. So management thinks we need to do this now. Maybe the board says the thing should be done now. Management may say, we think this thing should be delayed and done maybe 6 months from now. That is going to be conflict. Difference in opinion on a subject matter issue. Key question: how do we manage these differences to still ensure that we build a company where everybody is respected, people can be trusted, and there is high level of transparency? So let's look at the skills we require. First one is communication. Okay, learn to communicate. Now, you must understand that communication is a two-way process. Sometimes leaders think they have communicated, but all they did was give an instruction. There is a difference between giving an instruction and communicating. And leaders must learn the art of communicating. That is a two-way street. You want to make sure that what you say you said should be done, people know what you are talking about. Do not assume that people should know what you are talking about. No, because they must understand. Because you see, if I say that I am hungry, I want to eat something, then my assistant brings me something and she brings me banku and okra stew. Then I'm like, who said I want to eat banku and okra stew? I want to eat, I want fufu rather. There is going to be conflict. Nhyira, you said you want to eat something. Something means banku and okra stew to me, so I thought you're going to eat banku and okra stew. So I thought I communicated that I am hungry. I want to eat something. She thinks Nhyira wants to eat banku and okra stew. So there and there, conflict has arose. But if I had said, hey, I'm hungry, I want to eat fufu, so get me some fufu and akrantianam, okay, get me some fufu and light soup, then I have communicated. So leaders must understand this very well. And the same thing happens to followers. Sometimes subordinates make certain statements, say certain things, and they think the leader should, by implication, understand what they meant. No. You see, you don't put people in a position to try to interpret what you meant by what you're saying, because then different interpretation can be given. Like the food example I gave. I am hungry. This is banku and okra stew. Oh, that's not what I wanted. Oh, but you said you were hungry. And so communication is a two-way street. And so conflict arises because the other party may not understand what is being communicated. What does that mean? It means that, number two, leaders and followers must learn to listen. Don't be preoccupied with something or you think, because there are some people, you are talking to them, they have already concluded what they think you are saying. And that is bad. That is bad. So you have to learn to listen to people. Why is this important? Because conflict arises because many people just keep talking and pushing their agendas without sitting back to listen to what others have to say. Sometimes you got to sit down and listen to what other, yeah, you have a brilliant presentation, you have a brilliant idea, you have a brilliant thought, but can you also hear what I think we are supposed to do? You're just shoving it, shoving it, shoving it. Then there is going to be conflict. Because maybe I disagree with your strategy, I disagree with your approach. Can you give me some room to talk? Yeah, you are not the person who has all the knowledge in the world. Give me some room. Give subordinates some room. Let us talk. So again, this is a two-way street. Leaders, sometimes you just have to sit down and listen to what your followers have to say. There was a time they mentioned that Elon Musk had to sit down to spend time with all of the engineers who were working at, I think, Tesla. I think all the employees had a sit down with them. I think it was 5 minutes for each employee or whatever. And it was simple. Hey, how are you doing? How is your work here? What do you do in this company? What do you need to be productive? What are your challenges? Leader listening to the followers. And so it's not every time that the followers must sit down and say, yo, yes, yes, sir, yes, sir, yes, sir, yes, sir. No, leaders. To enhance collaboration, let people need be heard. That's the second way. Because when their needs are heard, then we wouldn't have to have any conflict when we are now implementing the strategy. Because remember, we agreed on this together. Now, does it mean everything we need to listen to subordinates before we move ahead? Not everything, but there is a way you make people feel they have been heard. There is a way you make people feel their ideas, their contribution is being considered. There is a way you make people feel that, yes, you are listening to what they are saying. Maybe you cannot do all for them, but this is what you can do. But if you throw people's opinion, people's needs, people's wants, and shove it somewhere, and you think you are the superior, so that is what has to be done, then we cannot build any significant organization. The third skill is celebrate everyone on the team. Sometimes conflict arises because people are not being recognized. Okay? People become bitter and begin to pick a fight when they are not benefiting from the growth or success of the company. This is where conflict comes in. Look at us. Look at us. We are working, we are working, we are working. Look at the CEO. Look at the owners of the company. They are buying cars, going on vacation, buying yachts. Their children are attending expensive schools around the globe. Look at us. Look at our life. Miserable. All of those things. Yeah. Sometimes that could make people bitter, which means that leaders must celebrate people. Listen, no company can certainly pay everyone to the satisfaction they want to be able to live any life because human needs are unsatiable. All right? So no company can give you, even if the company you're working for today decide to pay you $10 million every month, after 3 months, that $10 million may not be enough again. Why? Because your lifestyle will change and you want more money. But what we are saying here is that leaders must recognize the contribution of everyone and celebrate people. That has a lot of impact on the team members. They feel part of something. And that is why I think you see this a lot. When a CEO of a company wins an award, they will say, oh, we dedicate this award, or this award has been won by me, but I'm not the one. It is the team that we have in our organization who are working, and that is why we are where we are. And this is a testament that we are doing the right thing. So let's continue to do the right thing. That is called celebrating everyone on the team. Then certainly the last one is going to be stress management. You see, sometimes there is conflict because people are just stressed out. Yeah. Sometimes there is conflict because people are just stressed out. So, workplace stress refers to the physical and emotional responses people experience when job demands and pressure exceeds their ability to cope. That's stress management. Because sometimes people are just like, I'm tired. I wake up 5 a.m., I get to the office 8:30, I leave the work 6 p.m., I get back home 9 p.m. I'm tired. Yeah, stress management. And so there are two levels here that we need to understand. Management leaders must consider the stress that employees go through and put in place measures to enhance efficiency and reduce friction within the organization so that they can work efficiently. Number two, employees must also make decisions on their own to manage their stress. For instance, somebody will say, oh, I stay at whatever the heck, and so I'll be in traffic 1.5 hours and come to work. And when I close from work, I have to be in another traffic for 2 hours before getting home. And I say this all the time, you are the cause of your own stress. Let me tell you this. Maybe the reason you are living far outside the outskirts of Accra is because rent is cheaper there. But now, because of your mindset that rent is cheaper there, you are paying expensive in transport cost. But you're not considering the transport cost, number one. Number two, the stress you go through for that 2 hours, 3 hours you are spending every day on transportation, you've not considered that. The health hazard, the fact that you are stuck in traffic for a long time, the carbon monoxide gases, the fumes from the cars, the dust affecting your lungs, respiratory system, you are not considering that. How about instead of that far, you come and live somewhere nearer to your place of work? Maybe 20 minutes to your place of work or 10 minutes to your place of work. Yes, rent is going to be expensive there. However, your transportation cost reduces. Then your stress level commuting to work, coming back also reduces. So, yes, you are paying more in rent, but you're no longer paying more in transportation. Your stress level has reduced. You'll be sane mentally, emotionally, and you can spend quality time with your children and your loved ones because that is what life is about. So, yes, sometimes people say they are stressed out. It's true. However, you have to find out, are you stressed out because of the work you are doing, or you are stressed out because of your own decisions? And so, in as much as you are, yes, you're supposed to live somewhere and all that, you must find a way to reduce your stress. And so, for instance, I tell my students this: you don't wake up in the morning, Saturday morning, and wash from 7 a.m. to 12 noon or 1 p.m. What the heck? Your back is going to be hurting you every time. You cannot spend quality time with your children, and you cannot have time to prepare for your examination and take your life to the next level. And so instead of sitting down having to wash that long, how about taking some of the things to laundry? If not all of them, take some of the things to laundry. Now, there people will be like, oh, laundry is expensive. No. How about the time you are saving? How about the stress that you are reducing? How about that? It's about mindset. And so stress management is key here in order to reduce conflict. Because when people are tired, they don't want to go to work. You give them instruction, they don't want to follow it. And that is why many people, they hate Mondays. If, Monday they are like, oh God, we are going to start again. Oh God, we are going to start again. That should not be your experience. You shouldn't wake up and be like, oh God, we are going to start again. No, you should wake up cheerfully. You should love what you're doing. You should go to work. But if you have to go through a lot of stress, then there'll be a lot of conflict within the organization. These are the two core skills that I believe managers and subordinates must have: emotional intelligence, conflict management, in order to ensure there is high level of collaboration within the organization, so that we can build an organization that will stand the test of time, build an organization that will maximize the wealth of the shareholders, provide an environment to employees where their needs are met, and also provide a culture within the company where there is high level of empathy, understanding of the needs of others, so that the goal of the company can be achieved and the company can become a good corporate citizen. Thanks for watching. My name is Nhyira Premium, and I'll see you in the next one.